Why is BTS's video of Stay Gold awesome? Hi, I'm Dr. Mark, and I'm going to help you sing and perform more like the top artists around the world. I'm a professional voice teacher, performance coach, and opera stage director. I've helped thousands of singers around the world learn the techniques and methods that got the top singers to where they are. Now, my preference is usually to choose live video, but because we're in COVID and there isn't a ton of live stuff going on, and also because I know BTS's videos, like many other videos, have a lot to talk about in terms of performance and presentation, and I always love what they do, and we can still get a somewhat of an idea of what's going on with their voice. I want to dive into it and see what we have going on. Let's check it out.
In a world where you feel cold, you gotta stay gold, oh baby, yeah. 미와쿠타키 나 moonlight 고요히 먼의 물안나이 특히 아카리오 다요리 니 김이는 모토의 hide and seek 거꾸로에 더 신호비 가운데 김이는 마치 같이까지 끊어서 일진호만이.
Okay. Oh, there's just always way too much to talk about with BTS because they always have so many really cool things happening all at once. I can't talk about them all. Let's just choose two. Number one, they're skipping from language to language, right? We just did English and Japanese. That's just so cool. I mean, they're a K-pop group, but they've become so much more than that. They really are a world entity, and they show that. They play to their audience all over the world, and I think it is so awesome. So awesome. I love it for a lot of reasons. Number one, because it makes us start thinking of ourselves as part of a world and not just as individual countries. I mean, this makes me want to really be fluent again in Japanese. It makes me want to be fluent in Korean. It makes me want to be able to understand every single word and communicate this with everyone else. And they're so awesome. Love it. Number two thing that I want to point out here, that the first thing we saw visually is someone inside a dark room, dark house, and they're looking outside into kind of a gold colored world, right? Visually, you also see that curtain was made out of red. Gold is kind of a form of yellow brown, right? And so that red really makes that gold pop out really nice. So just saying, that kind of darkness, the kind of home, the kind of quietness came out in their voice. They kind of had an aspirate or breathy sound going on, which meant they're using a lot more air and they weren't bringing those vocal folds together with a lot of pressure. They're just kind of singing really lightly and easily. You can try making something similar to that by singing on a hoo, right? And give that a go. And I love how that matches that. Then we all of a sudden get this really kind of edgy image where he's sitting in a chair inside a room. It's green. We have a tree growing, but wallpaper being torn off. And we get this more edgy rapping type of sound. The contrast is mind-blowing. And again, remember that we had red curtain, which was kind of the pop of color that then is also contrasting with the green of the next room over. So it creates this visual contrast and variety. And it's just so exciting to see it go between such sharp images that stay connected because they still live in the same color palette, right? And they still communicate the same thing, but they just give us so much information in such a short amount of time. That's just mind-blowing. You gotta like watch it a bajillion times to try to catch it all and make meaning of it. I mean, we could keep going. Let's keep going. Okay, what is this communicating so far? Well, at least one of the big things it's communicating to me is visually is isolation, right? We're seeing an individual single person pulled out from an outside world. Relevant. I guess it makes total sense why they would do that, which makes them also awesome because they're so good at speaking to relevant issues through their music. Anyways, that's a totally different thing. But what we're talking about here is this isolation thing. The way we're hearing that isolation is we're hearing one voice at a time, right? And they're going through these individuals one at a time. And it gives this sense of isolation. Now, interested to see where they go with that and if they help us kind of work through that, work past that and connect things together. Don't know. Let's see. Symbol of hope.
Stay gold.
Okay, light's a symbol of hope. That's what flame is, one of those, right? Or it's also a cleansing thing or getting rid of whatever this isolation has meant, which all these books might be a symbol of that. Don't know. That's kind of a really complex image that they've tapped into there of book burning. That's a tricky one to put together, but it makes sense in this moment. And then all of a sudden we get to this chorus, we get the sound of multiple voices and echo, and we get this kind of idealistic world where everyone's coming together. There it is. They set up the perfect story, right? Isolation with its contrast and helping us make meaning through visual contrast, but tying it all together with a consistent sound, consistent airflow with what we're hearing musically, consistent placement for the most part, and visually all kinds of consistency. So even though we're now in this happy idealistic place, they're really similar colors, just altered and softened and brightened. How cool is that? Because what is that like? Feeling isolated, everything seems darker, dimmer, dingier. It's a real thing, right? It happens to us when we're depressed or feeling isolated, is we don't see the world in its brightest colors. When we do have them, or maybe this is also suggesting dreaming because we all have all this floaty stuff in the air, much brighter. Awesome. Okay, so the other really cool thing here as I'm watching is they are showing here in this moment a bunch of different ways of connecting with the world around you and with people around you. Music, play, right? Shooting the water up and playing with each other that way. Just talking, physical connection, pets, animals help us feel connected. There's just all kinds of meaning here, right? It's like a lesson in how to deal with the present situation. I mean, how cool is that? Okay, industrial versus nature, outside, light. Really strong contrasts. Again, working really well with kind of tying isolation with being unhealthy or an industrial, right? And connection with being healthy and being outdoors and doing things that are good for humans. Okay, the other thing you'll notice is at the end of the previous chorus, they already switch back into this isolation world, which really helps smooth this transition out. Really smart. Okay, one of the reasons I like verse 2 is we see that even though these people are isolated, we're seeing more glimmers of hope. So it wasn't just return to isolation, it was development of that situation. So it went from something that seemed relatively hopeless, not a whole lot of signs of hope, to we see this glowing key lock, we see face here lighting up, we see different elements of hope, right? Someone looking out a window, putting their face against it, trying to connect with someone. And so I love this development. It's really important when you're planning through a song and you have this repetition where it goes verse, chorus, that each time you come back to a verse or chorus, it's not just repeating the same things, but that we're giving new information. We're seeing development and growth of what we're trying to communicate. And we're seeing that here. Love it. Connection, playing games. Okay, something I think that's really interesting that's making me think about here is in this place that's communicating connection, right? Not everyone is directly interacting with someone else. That's meaningful to me. As someone who gathers their energy from solitude, though I love engaging with people and I love being extroverted, it's exhausting to me most of the time. Feeling like there are ways for people like that to still feel connected and be connected to the world and sharing that message, I think is really powerful. I think it's awesome. And I think gives a lot of hope to people who might feel struggle connecting the world, that there are still ways for you to connect with the world. Like someone listening to music, that's a way to connect with the world around you. By daydreaming, positive daydreams just by yourself can be a positive way to connect with the world and to feel like you belong. So I love, as always, how they're able to tie everything together as an ensemble, but that they let each person really be unique and share what they have to share with the world in a way that is true to who they are and is unique. And it helps us kind of engage with their work in a really unique way where it gives all kinds of different people a way in to connect, to understand, to feel engaged with their work. And that makes us feel connected. Go figure, not isolated. So love that they're using their art to connect people together. Awesome. Oh, see that thing of hope right there? And that one of the initial images we saw, we see that the ceiling is starting to turn gold and fall apart. This isolated box is starting to deteriorate and go away.
Stay good, stay good, stay good. Stay good, stay good, stay good. Stay good.
Opening doors, exiting into industry, industrial land, into nature. Dark night, wonder, grass, openness, freedom. And notice when we get to that place, we get this more lyric, light, lean, narrow, clean sound. That just sounds so free, easy, and healthy. Love it. Question is, how do I get that high, easy, lean, comfortable sound, right? That's a bigger topic. And it really depends on you and what your voice is doing. But one thing you can do now is start doing slides from the top down. Woo! And trying to keep that nice, open, easy, consistent airflow all the way through with that forward buzzy placement. If you'll do that, you're going to find that that starts taking you down the path of getting that easy sound up on top. Oh my gosh. Okay, I won't stop it so often. We got to be close to the done. But there's just too many awesome things. You'll notice before it kind of had this daydream quality where things were falling. It was kind of fuzzy. There's fluttery things in the air. It felt like a fantasy world, right? Now we're not. There's no fluttery things. We're not in this fuzzy land. This is real world daydream. Now you might think this seems really false. Like a real place does not look like this. Not true. Go to Japan during cherry blossom season when the whole country lights up in pink and white with cherry blossoms. It's, in my mind, the most beautiful thing on earth. It is the most awe-inspiring phenomena and gorgeous thing ever. So if you have some on your bucket list, or if that's not on your bucket list, it should be. But I diverge. Here in this moment, you'll notice that, what does it communicate? It communicates that the real world can be even better than the dream world. It can be more awe-inspiring, more wondering. And we're in this situation of COVID. If we'll just hang on and we'll just trust and have hope and try to see gold in the world around you and live that way and see things as good and try to connect, that it can turn out. It gives us a lot of hope, right? I mean, in short, the story that this is telling is one of isolation to connection, hopelessness to hope. They're taking us on that journey. That's really so potent, so powerful, so needed. And so thinking about how you can take your audience on a journey, take them from somewhere to somewhere even better, is going to elevate your audience, is going to lift them up and put them in a better place because they listen to your music. Yeah, I love it. This is amazing stuff.
고요히 내몰아새 날 네 길이 심했다 손을 태워 하나씩 다 구워놔요.
Okay, so it's cool because it's leaving on this edge. I was just saying it's realistic, but then all we get these super saturated colors, this glowing tree. Now we're getting like magic happening and purple moss stuff, right? So we're still in fantasy world. We're kind of tricked into this reality for a moment, and then it's still fantasy world. And so it helps us still come to terms that it's not like they left us in this place, right? But that there is a way out and we can get there, but they're still here, they're with us, and we'll do this together type of thing is what I'm getting from it. I might be reading a ton into this. My Japanese isn't good enough. My languages aren't good enough to be able to take this out of context. And again, I'm watching it for this first time so that I'm seeing it as a first-time viewer instead of a long-time viewer, so I can share with you my perspectives as a first-time viewer and what I think reads immediately to an audience. And I think they're doing an awesome job.
Stay gold. Ooh, yeah.
So notice that at the end we come back to that first image. So yeah, we're just like us. We're now back to the real world, but you see these little mystical flutters of gold and glitter coming in. There's hope. And there is. Don't forget to comment down below with what you liked, what you thought was awesome about their singing, their performance, this video. Tell me what else you want me to react to. You can book a lesson with me at foundyourvoice.com. Let me help you find your voice, both as a singer and as a performer. I can help you sing easier and perform more consistently while engaging your audience in amazing ways. You can also find me on Wizio.com if you want to send me short video or audio links and have me give you feedback and reactions. You can also check me out on TikTok. I've started doing a bunch of little micro lessons in there if you're wanting to watch those, and I hope to see you next time.